Hello, it's Dave. I've got another game here. This will be a French defense. This game was played at the Fritz chess server. Time is 10 minutes plus 5 seconds per move. I'm going to be playing black in this game, and it'll be a French defense. The ECO code is C02. Some of the things we'll be looking at is changing plans, pins, and playing on the open file. So let's get started. Like I said, I'm playing black, and white opens with E4, D6, E4, D5, E5, and now B6. I got this idea from Peter Lalic, I believe that's how he pronounces his name, Dragon Lalic, on YouTube. And the idea is that he wants to exchange his light squared bishop for white's light squared bishop. In other words, I'm going to exchange, or black will be exchanging his bad light squared bishop for white's good light squared bishop. So that's the idea behind it, and I thought after I seen Peter do a few of these games, I thought I'd give it a try and see how it works out. Anyway, after B6, white responds with bishop to B5 check. I played bishop to D7. Bishop takes D7, and I accomplished my goal of getting rid of my light squared bishop. And now the question is, which piece should I retake with? Should I take with the knight or take with the queen? Well, in this case, I took with the queen. And the reason I did so is because what I have in mind is, in the French defense, the key square for black, or for both sides, really is the D4 square. If I take with my knight, I won't be able to put any pressure on that D4 square from the D7 square. So what I want to do is take with the queen, push the C pawn, and then play this knight to C6. So let's go back to the game. Like I said, after bishop to D7 check, I retook with my queen. Queen takes D7. White played knight to F3, C5, the thematic pawn push for the French defense, C3, and now knight to C6. So you can see this is why I took with my queen, because I want to have this knight putting pressure on this pawn. Next move is castle, knight at G to E7, bishop to G5, C takes D4, C takes D4, and knight to F5. And I'm adding pressure to the D4 pawn by bringing a second knight into play against it. I've got my F knight and my C knight. Next move is knight to C3, H6, and bishop to E3. As you can see, white has his D pawn very well defended. He's got his bishop, his knight, and his queen all defending his D pawn. And this will be difficult for this particular setup for black to win this pawn, but this was the beginning of the game. This is the thematic square you aim for, and now it's time to change plans. Black's next move is A6, queen to A4, bishop to E7. I want to bring out this last piece so I can castle. Rook at F to D1. White adds more defense to his D pawn. Black castles. Queen to B3, attacking the B6 pawn. I advance at the B5, and now he plays rook at A to C1, taking advantage of the open C file. I play knight to A5, attacking the queen. Queen drops back to C2, and now knight to C4. I've got a very well placed knight here at C4, and this knight helps control these dark squares in white's position. Next move is rook to E1, rook at F to C8. I also want to challenge the C file. And a lot of times you might ask yourself, which rook should I move? In this instance, since I'm going to be playing on the queen side, I bring my king side rook over to the open file, and I leave my queen side rook, which is on A8, where it's at in case I want to maybe move it to the A file or the B file, depending on how the pawn moves. So this is the reason I brought I used to decide which rook is to use. Maybe someone else has a better idea. Maybe this is the wrong rook. But I think in this instance, this was the correct move to make. Next move is B3, which is a mistake by white. This allows the black to take advantage of the pin with the rook on the queen. And let's see how I do this. I take with knight at C takes E3, F takes E3, and there are other moves here that white could have made. He could have captured with the rook. He could have just moved the queen, accepted the loss of the piece. But he retook, keeping the material even for the time being. And now I played b4. And this knight is pinned to the white queen. The queen sidesteps, and immediately I took with my pawn. White retakes with his rook. And now I take with my rook. Rook takes c3. Someone might have another move that, if you go back, you might say, why didn't black play bishop to b4, pinning the two rooks? But in the end, it really doesn't matter how I played this. The material ends up the same. So I decided to go ahead and exchange pieces. I'm ahead, so I went ahead and swapped the rooks. So back to the game, I took with my rook. Rook takes c3. White takes, queen takes c3, and now rook to c8. And I've got, I'm up a bishop for a pawn. White, with his queen under attack, moves to a5, looking at the a6 pawn. I played queen to c6, defending the pawn and taking more control of the c file. And now white makes a second mistake, and he plays e4. And generally when a person's behind in material, they kind of tend to try to make something out of the position that's not there. Plus this was a little bit of a blitz game. My opponent was, in fact, we were both not short on time, but we were using our time up. And the next move is knight takes d4. And actually this isn't the strongest move according to Fritz. The strongest move would have been taking d takes e4. And there's a long complicated line after that, but in the game I played knight takes d4, and you'll see what my idea is, that I'm going to pin his knight to his king, and this is what I saw when I decided to take with my knight. So white responds, knight takes d4, and then I played bishop to c5, pinning the knight to the king. He plays rook to d1, defending, and I played bishop takes d4, rook takes d4, and now I played queen to c1 check. He played king to f2, and I played queen to b2 with the idea of forking his rook and king. And actually this is not the best move for black. The best move would have been, instead of checking with my queen after king to f2, the better move would have been rook to c2, and let me show you why. Black would have responded with rook to d2. I would have taken rook takes d2. He has to take, otherwise he's going to be mated very shortly. In a sense it doesn't matter, because I'll be so far ahead of material. He takes queen takes d2, and I takes queen takes d2. So you can see this was a much better variation for black. But instead I made the mistake and I played queen takes b2, and white cooperates with my bad move and plays a bad move himself, and he played queen to d2. The best move for white would have been rook to d2. I would have still played rook to c2, rook takes c2, queen takes c2 check, king to f1, queen to d3 check, and in the end what would happen is that white would have most probably win this pawn, black would have taken these two pawns, and you would have had a situation where black has passed pawns in the center, white would have two passed pawns on the queen side, and there still would have been play. But white made the error. He cooperated after I made my bad move of queen to b2, thinking I made a good move, and he cooperated and played queen to d2 blocking, and now I played rook to c2, attacking the queen through the king. He plays king to e2, defending the queen. I played rook takes d2, rook takes d2, and now I played queen takes e5, king to d1, queen takes e4, and at this point white resigned the game. Well, hope you enjoyed it. I hope you've seen how I went from attacking the d pawn to taking advantage of the open c file and of the pin. So hope you enjoyed the game, and until next time.